Hey guys, I'll be presenting our mid-fi prototype. To give a brief introduction, we have built a prototype that is an interface that allows users to book flights end to end and to be able to do that confidently and efficiently based on their personal preferences. And we, through this prototype, aim to provide complete transparency into the booking process from a cost and progress perspective. In order to do this, we make use of some key features. One of them is a currency selector. We have a circular or wheel-based approach to tracking progress, as well as a selected budget from the user. We provide incremental cost breakdowns by booking stage, accept preferences and validate them for each flight that the user decides to look at, and then also allow the user to navigate back and forth between the system easily using the wheel. And I'll be demoing all these features as we go through our medium prototype. So we start from the landing page and you first hit this currency selector. The main goal with this is to have users have upfront clarity about what currency they're transacting in for the entire process. So here I can go ahead and choose Canadian dollars, and now there's for sure, and it shows them up here in the top as that this is what they've gone ahead and selected. And so it just makes it very clear from the get-go that this is what they're doing. I can now also go ahead and input a budget. So I go ahead and select a budget of $1,000. And now this has been set as my budget for the entire process. So the outer wheel tracks your progress throughout the entire booking process, this blue wheel here, and the orange wheel tracks your budget and how much you've spent based on what you allocated. So it really helps the user understand where they are in the process and how much they've spent so far to make a better decision based on should I be spending less, should I be spending more, etc. So assuming you go ahead and fill in all the details about where you want to travel, we then get to our preferences page. The key detail that I wanted to mention here is that our system differentiates between preferences and filters, where preferences are something that a user would like to have, but not necessarily filter out. But filters is something that the users say, hey, I don't want to see anything that's not in my filter at all. So here, for example, I choose free checked bags, seats, buy onboard meals, and entertainment, and I proceed. It then remembers that. It collapses my wheel to then become a navigation wheel for the rest of the process, where again, the blue tracks the progress, the orange tracks your budget. And then all my preferences are displayed here. If I, for example, choose this first flight, it tells me that for one of the preferences, free seats, it's not available on this flight. And as you can see, it's also still tracking my budget and my progress. So I move back and let's say I now go to Air Canada. Everything looks good now. And this flight covers the things that I'm looking for. So this looks good. And the other thing I wanted to mention is also this detailed description that I mentioned, which tells you a step-by-step breakdown of what you're spending your money on. So having these two are really important. The first one, or this left progress wheel, is tracking your overall spending, whereas the right is telling you what you're spending on. So it's really giving you a dual perspective on your cost and pricing. So assuming I've done this process and then I move forward to seat selection, I want to now demo how you can navigate within the system. So let's say the user does seat selection for the first flight, but then they decide to skip for the second flight and they get to the summary page, for example. At this point, they realize they do want to select a seat. So by clicking on the wheel, it opens it up for them and it allows them to move back to any of the stages that they've already completed. So I can move back to seats. I can go to my return flight and now I can choose a seat. But rather than me having lost all the progress I'd made before I jumped back to the stage, I can use the wheel because it's smart and has memory about what I've done so far to now jump back directly to my confirm stage. So now I get back to my confirm stage, I continue the payment, I simulate doing all my details and putting my credit card information in, and now I've booked my ticket. And that's the end of the process. And it's really, really simple. Just to conclude then, the goal of this medium-fi prototype is to streamline the booking process with clarity, efficiency, and user customization, to provide them with the necessary tools through the UI to make the visual progress wheel and the preference settings to enhance their overall decision making and understanding what they're spending on and how they should be spending. It does that with the multifaceted approach of having the price details as well as the budget tracking, along with the progress wheel that allows you to navigate back and forth, tweak your preferences, tweak your filters, jump between different parts of the process to understand maybe if you missed something or if you want to change something. And while doing so, not having to worry about you losing all the progress that you've made so far.